Welcome to the first bonus episode of The Gifted Kid Complex. What are we doing here today, Teia?
We are going through, if I'm correct, format. So we're going to explain a bit about how the show works,
Yes?
our plans. It might derail. We might
Yeah,
just
for
not
real.
stick to plan, but this is the plan we're meant to stick to.
My aims for this bonus episode to explain the segments to you, both the listeners and to you, Teia. I am the creator of the show, but Teia has been contributing and will be contributing a lot to the show as well. Not to take away from her, but this is my little brainchild, so I'm going to explain it to you guys.
No, I did nothing. I was really busy preparing for my exams, so Cher gets a lot of the credit for coming up with all of these things.
It's completely understandable given your exams.
I'm a struggling undergrad. That's the brand.
It really is. All right, so the format of the show is gonna, and this is like kind of a behind the scenes, is gonna take the magic away from it because it's gonna seem really scripted and segmented. But I promise it's not gonna sound that weird. Okay, so we're gonna just introduce ourselves in the episode. We'll also introduce any guests that we have at the same time. The host of the episode, because it will alternate between myself and Teia each week. The host of the episode will then be preparing the entire show. By and large, the host of the episode is taking charge and has creative control over what's going to happen. So they're going to kind of bring it into a transition, like talk segment, like stupid shit that we're just going to intellectualize for no reason, or like just a discussion about something, or like, you know, just like some exposition or just some facts and stuff that's cool. I don't know. It's really up to the host. Yeah, we'll go into two games. The first one is going to be knowledge-y, kind of. And I'll talk about the games and where I stole all of them from. Talk about one of those.
Are we sure we should be doing this on the internet? Can you be copyrighted for games?
I think the fact that we're doing this episode and explaining where it came from, I think that makes it okay.
Okay, so if anyone's trying to sue us, please watch this episode.
It's a catch-22 though. They wouldn't know.
They wouldn't know, exactly. But we're absolving ourselves of all responsibility. So
a lot of these were inspired by content creators that I absolutely adore and respect so much. So anyway, we'll have one knowledge-y game, and then we'll just have like a for fun game. But like, honestly, I think you can still really insert intellectualizing into those as well, just because of the nature of the conversations that Teia and I have.
Yeah, we're already this obnoxious in real life.
I know, like, honestly, the podcast, it was when I was like, hey, we should host a podcast together. It was just kind of like, you know, we're not even going to need to do anything.
What are we going to talk about? Just the normal shit we talk about on the daily. Except this time we have games. Are you spoiling the games?
That's the point of this episode. Teia, you don't know the title of what I'm intending for this episode to be called.
Oh.
But I'll let you know. It's shit, where is it? Let
me find where is it? That's the title, guys. Shit, where is it?
So it's called A Confession: Cher's Thievery of Show Formats.
What? Is this like Okay, so we're spoiling the show format.
Yes.
Cool.
We're spoiling the show format. We're not going to spoil, like, specific content or anything. But, like, kind of what to expect in terms of the games.
Is there any of them a bit too intellectually elitist?
In case you're stupid enough not to understand the show.
That's foul.
I would like to say that I was joking. Like to say that I was joking.
To clear up confusion, we're just going to explain the games.
So the first game that I wrote is called You Should Know This. So it's the trivia game where the panelists quiz each other and things the others almost definitely don't know. The inspiration for this was very much citation needed by Tom Scott and the technical difficulties. I've been watching a lot of Tom Scott's panel shows, and he's been a huge inspiration to how I want to be doing this. I also want to say out of the way that my other big inspirations were like SciShow Tangents, CGP Grey, not for like the game show format, but kind of the like presentation of knowledge and it being entertaining, and like the formats of British panel shows.
Yeah,
I've just really always been into and I've wanted to participate, right?
Yeah, like Mock the Week.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, the other one is dropout shows. So
Yeah.
that's college humor. Yeah. So those are big inspiration. That one of these is basically actually so you should know this. Basically, the host will have researched something probably kind of niche, probably like not super like well known. It will be surprising the other person knows about it, but that might be fun as well. Be like, haha, I knew about it. Haha.
Haha, psych. I intellectually elitist you.
It was super effective. The next one is Fish Out of Water. So this is mostly going to be a game for guests. The subject-specific trivia game where general knowledge isn't enough. Insert panelist, our resident insert subject expert is going to do their best to prove it. To do so, they have prepared some questions with which they will quiz the panel.
Very exciting.
The person who prepares the game tests other people on their specific subject knowledge that, they're probably not going to know anything about. The next game is called Trust Me, I Was Smart Once, and I stole this one from Two of These People Are Lying. And it's kind of a cross of Two of These People Are Lying from the technical difficulties again, so like Tom Scott and Would I Lie to You? This is specific about like trivia or knowledge or some kind of fact or a thing, just anything you can describe with like a noun, basically. So this is the tagline: the game of deception, imposter syndrome, and light-hearted intellectual snobbery. I will be presenting a Wikipedia article. I kind of decided a Wikipedia article because it kind of narrows it down to the kinds of things that would be notable enough to be appropriate for this. So the caveat, this article may or may not exist. If I manage to convince my co-host or the others that it's a real article when it's fake or a fake article when it's real, I win. And also, you can't just make up an article if the thing's already real or true. Like you can't take something that you know about that isn't on Wikipedia and say like, haha, actually it was true, but it's not a real Wikipedia article.
Oh.
That is in bad faith. So the fake articles have to be totally fictitious.
So essentially gaslighting.
Yes, exactly. It's academic gaslighting.
Academic gaslighting.
So I wanted the win condition not to be to convince people that it's true. Because if it is true and then they are convinced that it's true, yes, you could say that I managed to convince you that it is the truth when it is. But I feel like that's kind of boring.
I agree.
That's personally where I land with that, the win condition. Very much this game was inspired by Two of These People Are Lying, and it would be remiss of me not to mention that. Do my due diligence, etc.
No academic malpractice on our academic podcast.
Yes. I'll do my MLA citations.
No. Why are you using MLA?
I actually don't use MLA. I don't know why that was the one.
You don't even use
I don't know why
MLA.
that's the one I went for.
There's an Oxford.
Do you guys use it?
No. That's a bit on the nose. Why would I use it?
But that's strange. Yeah, the next game is just a pop quiz. I don't need to explain that. But I will.
You know, the gifted kid complex, this means that pop quizzes were less traumatic in the sense that we fail, and more traumatic in the sense that if we don't do extremely well, then we lose our status as a gifted child. So the pop quiz is something we're all very intimately familiar with.
Yeah, so the host, they'll just speed run giving a presentation on anything that they choose, as long as it's like, I was about to say meaty.
Meaty. A meaty topic. That means
meaty topic.
There should be presentations on meat.
You understand what I mean. On topics of substance.
Yes.
Substantial topics.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it could just be like telling you about the most banal thing, and it'll just be awful, not only as a pop quiz, but also for content, and that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Should we move on to the next game?
Oh my god, it's COD.
Yeah, so it's called Connect the Dots, which, it's COD, it's Call of Duty. So I like Connect the Dots. Like, this was a game that I came up with. Initially thought I came up with all on my own, and I was so proud. And then I realized I stole it from Only Connect, basically.
Oh god.
The host will present some things, that might not seem immediately related, or like it's kind of vague as to, or the connection might not be as clear. You might think it's something, but it might actually be a red herring, might be something else. And the panel, or like whoever is not the host, has to find the hidden connection, the common denominator. So because when I was researching for the show and I hadn't written this game yet, I hadn't like written this format yet, I was like, oh, like I have all of these examples of things, but there isn't like a game format for it. And I was like, oh, I could make a fucking segment that basically is that. Like, here are the examples, tell me what the topic is. My worry with this game is to not make it too obvious, but also not make it way too obscure that they're definitely not going to get it. But that's on being a game show host.
Being a game show host.
Teia and I are writing, presenting the show. So we don't have separate writers, we don't have separate presenters. It's all just the two of us. It is fun that as the host of the episode, you get to present what you've made. I don't know about you, but in the process of writing the episodes, I get really excited being like, oh, I'm so excited to like find out how they're going to respond to this. At the time of this recording, we have not recorded any full episodes yet.
Yeah, we're doing bonus episodes before we even have any episodes.
But I think it makes sense though.
Yeah.
So that is the game that I stole from Only Connect, basically.
Call of Duty.
But with Only Connect, it's like they show you this one, and then they show you the next one, and it's like on a timer, right? Whereas with this, I'm kind of presenting it all to you, and we can have a discussion about it. So it's kind of the premise of Only Connect, where it's like, find the connection.
Yeah.
Which I think is fine. Like, we're inspired. We're all products of our time. And this is something I genuinely, like, strongly believe in. Like, none of us can ever be, as creatives, truly original. We're all going to be responding to previous works, whether it's art or content or, like, any kind of medium. And that's fine. It's fine. And that's what this episode is about.
Yeah,
it's about
that
being
it is.
really explicit, really clear that that's what's happening. Yeah, so we only have 2 more games in the knowledge section to explain. I could just kind of speed run through the just the just for fun ones, because it won't take as long, because those are kind of like simple.
Yeah.
So the next game, very simple. It's just this or that. It's just categorize things. I'll tell you the categories, or the host will tell you the categories. They'll say a thing, whether it's like, I don't know, it's up to the host, like how they want to approach this format. So for me, one of the ways that I've written this game is I say a fact about a certain animal, and then you tell me what category this animal belongs in, without, like, I don't tell you what the animal is, I just tell you a fact about it. So, we can kind of play with this format, but basically it's just like, yeah, just categorize, just like sort it out. It's really simple, but I think it's a really effective format for a game.
It is fun. It sounds really, really fun. You can come up with like really obscure, you can like misdirect people with
exactly.
Slightly obscure facts.
One of my difficulties with that, and like not difficulties as in like it made it hard for me to write the game, but just like something I had to navigate while writing games of this sort, is you have to find things that would be difficult to categorize, because it could be true of either thing, or like it seems like it could be true of each of the categories. So this last game in the knowledge section, and honestly, even in the like the fun games section, I still have things that are kind of intellectual, because I'm just like that. I'm a bit cheaty, but it's my show, so everybody can shut up.
We are like that. And this is just the normal dynamic. So
it is.
It'll be interesting to listen to, at least. Like, if it was just like us talking about random banal topics, then I don't think it would be particularly entertaining for anyone to watch. But if you've got like fun facts and trivia and like very harmless, just random pieces of knowledge from God knows where, yeah, and don't worry, full fact checking will be going into this.
Oh yeah, we can have citations in the show notes.
All of our information, any research that we do, you can be assured that it will be peer reviewed as best as we can.
And we will make these citations, or at least our sources, available in the show notes.
So it is super fun and very, very casual, but we also don't want to provide any misinformation or Yeah.
The show is lightly educational. Like, I don't want it to come across as like like a science show or like a history show, anything like that. Because we like a lot of my games are science based, but even though I'm a philosophy student, but the priority is always gonna be the comedy, right? The priority is
Yeah.
always gonna be the entertainment. But I want to still have that educational value into it. And I think what's really important with shows like that we're trying to do here is that it's important for us to have a format because, like you said, like we can't just
Yeah.
talk about stuff like without direction because
Yeah.
like how do we like yeah so I spent a lot of time coming up with this. I mean, I say a lot of time, for like 3 days.
That's still probably a lot of time. While I was just ascending in the library before my exams.
My exams ended significantly before Teia's, so
Yeah.
I had free time. So I was just like, well, what do I do with this time now? I guess I'll make a podcast.
And I was like, I've got exams, but I'm down. I'm down.
Yeah, so the last knowledge game is come again, the tagline. The game where one panelist knows a language and no one else here does. So today, insert panelists will be trying to get the rest of us to guess what a phrase in that language means. And everybody else will have to rely on their linguistics abilities to decipher whatever they are saying, as well as what language it is. Guessing what language it is may or may not work depending on who the guests are.
Yeah.
And it depends on the language. But I think it might be interesting because if, for example, if Teia brings on a guest that speaks a language and I don't know this guest very well, then I will not know what languages they're capable of speaking. So I think it's still possible, but that might not be as big of a factor in this game. I kind of stole that from what Cut, like the guess what language this is.
I think we're also guessing what language, but also like guessing what a phrase in that language means.
Yeah, so it's a combination of how much do you know your etymologies?
And your world etymologies.
How much can you hear like language families?
Yeah.
This one is called Correct Me If I'm Wrong, which is basically actually, but it's not just about nerd shit. It could be subject knowledge, it could be facts about things. I don't know. It's really up to you. It doesn't have to be about mediums. So I'm just kind of widening the scope. The host of the show or the panelists who provide the game, they're gonna have like a string of statements. They'll start with the phrase, correct me if I'm wrong, and everybody else has to correct them because they will be wrong. That is the game. Bonus points if you can guess what the correct version of that sentence would be, basically.
Yeah.
The next one is just a spelling bee. It's just a spelling bee. It's like the pop quiz. Like, I don't need to.
Who let two gifted kids make a podcast and they go on there and they spell words?
We'll do a linguistics episode. Yeah, so what's that line? Host will just read out a selection of lines from some kind of thing, from a property. It could be from a book, a script, from a play, a musical, song lyrics, film, theater dialogue, games, I don't know, you know? And the panel has to identify what property the line is from.
Once we have enough podcast episodes, we can have what's that line, and you have to guess what podcast episode we've got it from.
Holy
Out
shit.
of context podcast quotes.
We should just do an entire bonus episode that's just that.
Yeah, we honestly could. If like we ever have enough content, and get our asses in gear.
Should we do it like once a year? Maybe once every half a year.
You know, maybe we could do it for like special anniversaries or something like that.
So I have a game called Innuendo. I didn't want to call it like my coffee, but it's basically exactly like my coffee from Game Changer by Dropout. I'm gonna try and figure out other things, but basically it's like sex with me is like I like my partners, like I like my are you blank because blank.
So Riz game.
I saw that episode and I was like, I want to steal that. But I will figure out a way to make it more original. I have to because I love this concept and I have to figure it out.
It is a very fun game.
It's like Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah, basically. That's fun.
The next game is called Real or Fake.
Oh, we basically have gaslighting but fun.
Another gaslighting game. Basically, host will be like, here's a category of things. Or like, here's a type of thing. I'm going to list some things. You tell me if this is a real example of that. But yeah, it's really simple. It's just Is it real? Is it fake? You tell me.
You tell me.
All right, let's just speed run the rest of these because they're simple. The rest of these, mind meld. Both of us will say a word at the same time. Then we keep trying to find the middle ground until we say the same word. The next one is telepathy, which is basically echinacea but like manual and not just about people.
This is so fun. So people who don't know what Akinator is, it's this amazing AI that basically can guess whatever's in your head by asking a series of yes or no questions. So we're gonna do the same thing. So one of the hosts or the guests will have a word in their mind, and everyone else will try and guess it. And the whole point of the word is meant to be something ridiculous. Didn't you try out this game?
I play tested this with one of my friends who will be featuring on the show because she's great. So she gave me the concept of enjambment, the poetic technique.
In poetry?
She said like one of the people who had played it with her was like specifically the third note in Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. Okay, the next one is a top 10 kind of thing or like a tier list. I honestly think I might remedy this and like might change it to like pitch what is the most of something, and then both me and co-host or like the panel will all prepare something and we'll present our case. Maybe like we'll do a tier list as well. The next game was one of the first ones I came up with.
Yeah.
Called Point of Information. Those of you who have done debate, you might be familiar with this phrase.
Yeah. And those of you who are not familiar with debate but end up going to, for some reason, I Oxford University is the worst because point of information is just everywhere. And the first time I heard it, I was like, what is this? Like, what does that even mean? And it was just an interjection. Here's information that will counter your argument without actually like countering the argument in words, which was entirely strange for me to witness, but essentially, yeah, informal debate.
But with this game, the host is the chair. They'll present the two sides. It's a coin flip. Obviously, the host is gonna tailor the game to be appropriate for the guests and stuff, the panel. Like, they're not gonna just like throw them in the dark with about something they obviously don't know anything about. It's not trust me, I was smart once. It's not you should know this. The kicker about this game is that the debate, everything that anyone says has to be prefaced with POI.
Or point of information.
Which I think is really funny. That's kind of it.
Do we have a point system?
I have a bell.
You have a bell.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the point. That's the reward. That's the point system. What's the you lost a point?
Ooh, that's a good point. I'll just be like, boo, boo. I don't like that. It's like, that was a shit point.
We'll like, I don't know, bang on the table or something.
Boo.
It's like the House of Commons.
Boo.
It's like, if it's a good point, you say, here, here. And if it's not, you go, ooh.
Why do they do that?
I don't know. Oh, you know what we could add to POI? Everyone has to address like other one as Mr. Speaker or Miss Speaker. That would be awful.
Which is really enforcing the gender binary.
Yeah, how do you
The one with the X? I don't know.
Mish?
Is it Mish? I had no idea. Both Teia and I use she, they pronouns, and we don't know this.
We suck. We're the worst kind of. We're terrible at this. Anyway, the final games. I don't need to explain what Would You Rather is. We give you two options. You pick which one you'd rather do. Or have. I don't know. Then you have Choose Your Own Adventure. I think it would be cool, not only if like you'd have multiple endings to go through.
It's kind of LARPing.
I don't know if anyone here plays Dungeons and Dragons.
I've never played D&D.
Neither have I. We could do the D&D episode. Genuinely, I think we should try it.
I think we should try it.
It looks like a ton of fun, and yeah, we both have really overactive imaginations.
We really do. My concern with D&D which is why I never got into it before, is that I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to take role playing like seriously. I wouldn't be able to immerse myself in it. But I would like to try the experience. I did get a Dropout subscription. I know I've mentioned Dropout multiple times. So I got into watching Dimension 20. So I think I have an understanding of it now, and I would like to try it. I really would. I do have some friends who are into it, and perhaps we could rope them into writing a one-shot or something.
Yeah, it's a good to intellectualize it a bit. I like how D&D has a little bit of world building, and that how fluid each world is, and how like the world is very much adapted to like the game, the specific people that are playing it. So our D&D would genuinely be chaos.
Oh, for sure.
You could just introduce random things.
I invoke the power of Rene Descartes. There's like religions, right? My religion can be Descartes.
I bring back like old Chinese military generals.
Oh yes, we love that.
I resurrect Sun Tzu.
This is awful. Yeah.
I recreate the Corvus from the Punic War
Uh,
to smash into you.
it sounds like a good time. Yes. I love that Tay and I have different like subject areas of interest as well.
Yeah, I'm very humanities.
I know fucking nothing about humanities. I know I study philosophy, but I think philosophy is like the least humanities of the humanities subject. I was really into STEM and like, I was really a science kid. I was really into maths. I did further maths at A level, like I'm finding it really hard to let go of that part of my academic self. And like with the podcast, I get to just indulge myself and like looking up weird science shit. And I have an excuse.
Yeah, I just let go.
Oh, you're just like, nope.
I'm still a big enjoyer of pretty much all things trivia. Me and my friends do love a good pub quiz every now and then, and I am absolutely hopeless, but it's fine. I'm excited to like learn new things.
Oh, for sure.
As well as like when we bring guests on, I'm really excited for them to kind of show off what they know and interact with us.
Yeah, like their takes on the same format.
Yeah.
Because like everybody's gonna approach it differently based on like what their interests are, like how they kind of want to approach game writing in general. It's just gonna be fun. I'm very excited.
For sure.
I'm always the person who's creating stuff and I want to be on the panel. I want to get to experience content.
You now get to be on the panel.
That's basically all the segments.
Lovely.
I mean, if we come up with new ideas for games, we're just going to keep adding to the list. Like, it's just fun to play around with different segment formats, and I'm really excited to see what we do.
Yeah, I'm also really excited. I think it's like a really, really fun thing to do, and I think we can come up with more games, and we're totally open to take like suggestions for games
please.
or topics that you want to see us unpack.
We do have the Ko-fi, if you would like to hop over there.
Ko-fi?
I did some researching. It rhymes with no fee, so it's Ko-fi.
Okay.
Because I was like, well, I gotta learn how to pronounce it.
So now I've just learned how to pronounce it.
Education.
Our episodes are coming out.
The goal is for us to launch on the 4th of July. If it hasn't happened, then expect it on the 11th. I'm not gonna change that. At the end of this, you'll just find out on the 4th.
You'll just find out on the 4th whether or not we've got one or whether we haven't.
Just to kind of round this out, summarize, we talked about the meta of the show.
Yeah.
Why we're doing the formats anyway. You're talking about how the segments work out. This was all just 100% off the cuff, so don't expect the actual episodes to be as loose, but I think it was fun. It was fun to talk about all this stuff.
Yeah, that's essentially our bonus episode.
Yeah. Anyways, you can drop us some messages on the Ko-fi, basically.
Yeah.
We may make a Discord server in the future. Who knows?
Who knows what's in store?
That's it. We've done it.
Do you have an outro for this? Do we do an outro for our special bonus episode?
Oh, no, not at all. This is just me talking about it. Do you have any final thoughts?
No.
I was gonna be like, would you like to round out with some kind of discursive and like outro thoughts?
No.
I have zero thoughts, zero opinions, zero feelings as to the work that you've put into making the show.
My honest reaction to that information.
Nothing. No reaction.
No, I love it. I think these games are gonna be super fun. I hope that we don't intellectualize too far and come up with we don't think we want to go too obscure, but I also don't think we want to go too kind of far into the realm of common knowledge.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So somewhere in between. So we're going to be treading that line delicately.
Can you believe that when I first proposed this episode, I was like, it's going to be like half the length of the regular episode? I think I didn't anticipate how many segments that I had written and how much I needed to explain each of them.
We got through it. So thank you very much for listening.
Yes, thank you. You're a real one for sticking out all the way through.
See you guys soon.
On either the 4th or the 11th of July.
One of the two.
One of the two.